Steve Jobs. There's a film about him.
Hey.
There's a guy who, and the guy who wrote it wrote Social Network. That should be enough to at least get you interested in the film. We'll do the rest of the work, letting you know if you should or not. My name is Paul Weston. Over there is Torin McLaughlin, and we're gonna do a QQ for you. So, Torin, why don't you give us a quick synopsis on what the whole film is about, aside from the fact that it's Steve Jobs?
So the film, yeah, it's about Steve Jobs. Wow, surprise! Michael Fassbender plays Steve Jobs, and he does a great job of it. The movie also has Kate Winslet, Seth Rogen, and Jeff Daniels in it. So high-profile actors who all do a great job acting in this movie, which requires acting. Great job, actors. Directed by Danny Boyle and written by Aaron Sorkin, who's done Moneyball and The Social Network. It's a great film. I really enjoyed it. Paul, why don't you tell us some strengths?
Well, I mean, he's being a little bit facetious about everything, but yeah, it's actually a really good film.
It is.
And first and foremost, the thing that will sell you on it is Michael Fassbender's performance. It's easily worth admission, even not on a cheap night. It's that good. For whatever reason, I don't know how it works, but there are certain performances where, even though you know exactly what Steve Jobs looks like, and you even kind of know what he sounds like, and you know what Michael Fassbender sounds like in interviews and all that stuff like that, it doesn't matter. You see some version of Steve Jobs that Michael Fassbender has created, and it's not jarring, anything like that. When I would see the Ashton Kutcher version of Steve Jobs, it kind of threw me off a little bit. This one doesn't. Performance fantastic, absolutely worth your time. I'd be very surprised if he didn't get an Oscar nomination for it.
I think so.
Yeah, the writing too, right? It's the two biggest things is the performance and the writing. Are both absolutely top notch. The reason the writing is so good, or what makes the writing so good, is just like Moneyball and just like Social Network. It's fast, it's witty, and the dialogue between people is what makes it engaging. It's interesting. You have these battle of the wits, and in real life, no one talks that fast, no one can think that fast, but it doesn't matter because everything is so witty, it's so smart. The thing that also they do with the writing that's really cool and kind of different is that it does a 3-part structure. So it has basically 40-minute scenes where it doesn't really leave the premise of where the scene starts. And you think, holy crap, 40-minute scenes where it doesn't, cut to another house or whatever. Trust me, it works. There's obviously some very inherent risks or faults in or flaws in doing that sort of structure, but the filmmakers are so good that they actually minimize those sort of potential pitfalls and actually use the strengths of doing that to its maximum. I assume you agree, right, Torin?
Yeah, no, I agree. It was slick in every regard. The writing, editing, and the choice of scenes was top notch. It's screams professionalism, I think, at every corner. But it does so without getting rid of the human sort of energy that drives the film. It's very intensely focused between Steve Jobs and his closest friends and collaborators, and those groups are the same basically, and deals with intensely personal. But interesting creative relationships in a way that doesn't let the suspense, drop down. Sort of, I was waiting for it to break out into a wider world, or for the wider world to come into this orbit of Steve Jobs and his close companions, but it does so in ways that don't relieve the intense focus, and I really appreciated that about the writing. I think it's one of the better dialogue-driven films that I've seen, and one of the best written films I've seen in the past 5 years at least. So I agree with you. I think there was one thing about the writing that I was a bit iffy on, and that was how they managed Steve's relationship with his daughter. But otherwise, the performances were great. The writing was really top notch, and I liked the choice to restrict it to backstage before the product launches. I think I'd give this film a B+, an 85-ish or an 83 or something. What do you think? And I would definitely recommend that you go see it. I think it's got just enough Hollywood sparkle and polish to keep you entertained, even if you lapse out of the dialogue for a second,
Yeah, and that's I quite enjoyed it, and it left me sort of in an artistic coma at the end of it. I kind of just stared it off into space. Because I feel watching this film, I instantly wanted to watch it again because I felt, I felt like that. I felt like I didn't get everything out of it. And so, like, especially any of like my filmmaker friends or people that are aspiring to make films or any kind of art, I think there's a lot in here for you, not just in the first viewing, but on the second one as well. I'm gonna give it an A minus because it definitely it tickled me in a very interesting kind of way. So I would recommend seeing it. But do know this is not going to be, as we said, like it's not going to be a biopic where it just follows a particular. Like, Steve Jobs goes here, then he goes over here, and then he does this, and he walks over. It's not that. It's a very artistic. It takes a lot of artistic choices and sort of slams everything together. But
yeah, it has an argument to make about him as a figure at the head of a evolving tech industry that now influences us all daily. So pretty impactful stuff. Yeah, definitely go see it.
Again, I'm Paul Weston over there, Sally McLaughlin, and come join us in the discussion. Take care, guys.